Welcome to the Pelican Brief. I am your host, David Tatman, and this is our Legislative Kickoff edition.
Welcome to the Pelican Brief with your host, David Tatman.
Welcome to the Pelican Brief. I am your host, David Tatman. This is our inaugural kickoff edition to the 2023 legislative session. So we wanted to give our audience a little bit of background about what's going to happen during the session and the structure and all of those sorts of things. So the Louisiana Legislature convenes in a regular session every year. In odd-numbered years, the session is referred to what we call a fiscal session. Each legislator can file as many fiscal bills as they want. And that is really the focus of the session. But each legislator is also allowed to pre-file up to 5 bills of general jurisdiction. And so that's kind of where we are. It'll be a limited number of general jurisdiction bills, and there's an unlimited number of fiscal bills. Now, once the pre-filing deadline comes, legislators can file up to 5 more fiscal bills for the first 10 days of the session. So there could be some more fiscal bills, but generally speaking, the legislative bill count is actually kind of low. It's not as big as it's been in previous years. I'd also want to tell you that this session is a little bit shorter than the regular sessions in even-numbered years, the general jurisdiction sessions. So, for example, the legislature can meet for no more than 45 meeting days, or no more than 60 calendar days can the session go. So the session has to end by June the 8th at 6 p.m. So it gives a little bit of a time frame about what we're looking at. So it's important to remember that this is an election year. In the fall, all legislative seats and all statewide elected officials, they're all going to be on the ballot. And we know that we're going to have a new governor because John Bel Edwards is termed out. We know that we're going to have a new attorney general and state treasurer because Jeff Landry and John Schroeder are running for governor. And we know we're going to have a new insurance commissioner because Jim Donelon has announced that he's not seeking reelection. So with that background, let's talk about the major issues that we can expect during the regular session. Money is going to be a big issue. For the past several years, we have experienced budget surpluses. So the question really is, how will the legislature spend that money? There are a lot of proposals. There's a lot of programs that the legislature would like to fund. But the reality of it is many people may want different things. There is one very interesting proposal in that arena, and that is that there is a bill by Representative Joe Marino that would raise the salaries of legislators from $16,800 a year plus per diems to $60,000 plus per diems beginning in the next term or 2024. The legislature can vote on their own salary, so that's why they have to do this. No one else is in control of that. The bill also provides raises for the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate. It does something a little different, too. It creates a CPI index on salaries so that each year as the CPI grows, it would grow. So that'll be an issue, a controversial issue that, for those of you who have been around a long time, was visited during the Jindal administration. The bill was actually passed, and it was vetoed by Governor Jindal. So other big issues on the horizon that we should be looking for: insurance. We have one of the worst property insurance markets in our history. Our markets are worse now than they were after hurricanes Katrina and Rita. So Laura, Delta, Ida, Zeta, all of those storms that hit Louisiana clearly have had an impact. But storms that also hit other places like Ian in Florida have an impact because we live in a global economy, and there are companies that are based in Florida that write Louisiana policies that have obviously struggled, have going out of business. And so we are going to be looking for some solutions to try to bring companies back to Louisiana and to ensure that we can get insurance companies writing. And so Chairman Huval has a package of bills that he'll be bringing forward on a number of issues, and we will cover them as we go along into the session. Another big issue is going to be, because we're in a fiscal session, you're going to hear a lot about tax reform. And if you think about it, it's really kind of the first real crack that they're having at this, because the last time there was a opportunity to address fiscal issues, you had COVID. And so sessions were limited. There was a lot more going on, but you're going to see some presses for some significant tax reform. You're going to see proposals by one of our previous guests, Representative Richard Nelson, to eliminate the state income tax. You're going to see bills from a variety of legislators to talk about other tax reforms, elimination of incentive programs, dedicating a portion of what was referred to as the 0.45, which was put on several years ago when the state was running deficits. You're going to see a lot of different things brought forward. In the economic development arena, you're going to see a lot of action as well. You're going to see a bill by Speaker of the House, Clay Schexnayder, to extend the sunset on the motion picture tax credit program, a program that has created thousands of jobs and has really had an incredible ripple effect across our state, and really has allowed people to stay in the state of Louisiana and work, reverse the brain drain, create high quality, high paying jobs. There's no pollution coming out of a motion picture production. And so there's a lot. It's very important to our economy, particularly as we're losing jobs in other sectors. There's also going to be bills dealing with things like the angel investor tax credit. So let's move on to criminal justice. Guns, guns, guns. There's going to be bills going every way on guns. There are going to be several bills on abortion that are going to go through criminal justice, because they're going to talk about the current state of the abortion laws in Louisiana. There will also be a bill to ban the death penalty in Louisiana. That's something that has been discussed, and you've seen some newspaper articles on it and some comments from our governor. Transportation is always on the agenda. I mean, from whether or not we should allow for toll roads, to the backlog of our construction projects. And doesn't matter where you are in the state, there is some major transportation project that is behind, isn't fully funded. And of course, it's an area that if you want to bring business and industry to the state of Louisiana, you have to create an infrastructure that works. So let's move on to labor. Minimum wage is kind of back in the mix. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't ever remember minimum wage not being an issue during the legislative session. The interesting part is there aren't very many people paying wages right now below $15 an hour. I know in my company and all of my small business associates that I work with, no one can get anyone to work for really not only minimum wage, but way above minimum wage. And so right now there is a giant problem in our state and in our country with getting people back into the workforce after COVID. There's also going to be some discussion around unemployment compensation, and so you see a few bills on that. Education is going to be a big issue. I have a little bit of background in that as a former school board member in East Baton Rouge Parish. Best title ever, former school board member. Education savings accounts are going to be discussed, and I think it's something that is going to draw a lot of attention for a variety of reasons, and you're going to see a lot of debate on it, and we'll keep you up to date on that. Teacher pay raises, that's going to happen. The question is, how much are the teachers going to get? And how sustainable is it over the long term? Some other interesting issues that are going to come up. There's a bill by Paula Davis that kind of goes to the heart of some of the things that have been happening with Ticketmaster across the country. Paula Davis has a bill that basically would say that when you buy a ticket to a concert or a live event, you own it. And so you should be able to resell it. You should be able to put it on another platform. You should not be limited to just Ticketmaster. You should be able to sell it on StubHub or SeatGeek or Facebook Marketplace. And this is a bill that you're seeing come across the country in other states because of the behavior of some of the ticket outlets. So there is also a major issue for those of you who don't follow this. Have you heard of Manhattan? Okay. Manhattan they're pogies. And so about a third of our audience picked up on that, right? Pogies are great fishing bait, but they also are used in so many other industries. And so right now, there really is almost an unlimited amount of Manhattan that has taken you. We've seen bills about this. It's a major industry in the state of Louisiana. It is a great debate because you have an industry right now that is flourishing by capturing Manhattan. There are some people who think that there should be some other restrictions on it, maybe not being able to fish Manhattan closer to the shore, limiting the amount of catch like Texas and Mississippi do. It's definitely something that you're going to see. And while it might not seem that important, it's a big industry and it's a conversation that's worth having. So one of the most important bills of the legislative session is Lance Harris has a bill to officially designate a state nut. And we're going to talk more about that. That's important stuff, state nut. I don't know if that's a kind of nut or an individual, but we'll just let that see how it goes. So that is just a brief overview of the legislative session. It is going to be quick. There will be some controversial bills, and we're going to cover it. So when you listen to our program, you'll see legislative update. Those are going to be ones where we just give you information on what's going on in the legislative session. During the legislative session, we're going to continue to interview gubernatorial candidates, candidates for attorney general, candidates for insurance commissioner. We're going to bring people in. We're going to bring in some people who are experts in the education arena. We're going to bring in legislators who have specific bills that they want to give their side to. And so you'll see a little bit of a different place. So if you see legislative update, it's going to look like this, and you're going to see my mug or hear my voice. When you see a candidate interview, it's going to be more specific. It's going to say gubernatorial candidate, AG candidate. If it's a particular subject matter, we're going to put the subject matter in there and who our guest will be. So look, here's the deal. We want you to be engaged. So if you are on social media, you can engage with us at Pelican Brief 225. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to see us on YouTube, it is at the Pelican Brief 225. And if you would like to email us, it is thepelicanbrief225@gmail.com. So please go out, share, like, subscribe. We do not generate revenue off of this. This is clearly and specifically an informational program to try to let our audience, our clients, and people around the state know what's going on. So please like, share, subscribe wherever you can. If you have a take, put it on social media, email us, call me. If you have a good take, we'll mention it on the show. If you have a great take, you will likely be a guest on our show. So that's it for right now. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Pelican Brief.
The Pelican Brief is an off-script production.